Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're going to cover some pretty tricky new letters and a core grammar rule that, honestly, you'll be using all the time. So let's get right into it. So here's our game plan for today. First, we'll do a quick flyby of the unit just to see what we're in for. Then we're going to jump straight into probably the single most important grammar rule you'll learn at this stage, gender. From there, we'll get our hands dirty with 4 new letters. Yeah, some of them are a little tricky, but I've got some tips for you. And finally, we'll see how it all clicks together with some new vocabulary and a bit of culture at an Arab coffee house. All right, so why am I making such a big deal about Unit 6? Well, because by the time we're done here, you're going to have a foundational grammar rule that applies to almost every sentence. You'll be able to read and write 4 brand new letters, and maybe most importantly, you'll have the vocabulary to talk about coffee. You know, the unit is actually put together in a really smart way. All the lessons build on each other. So we start with the grammar of gender, then we learn the specific new letters that we're going to need for the new vocabulary, and then we get to apply all of that in a real cultural context, the coffee house. See, everything is connected to help your reading, writing, and speaking skills all grow together. Okay, let's tackle the biggest grammar concept from this unit, gender. Now, I know that word can sound kind of scary, especially if you've studied other languages. But here's the good news. Arabic gives us this amazing shortcut, and it all comes down to one tiny little symbol. So let me introduce you to the ta marbuta. This little symbol, which kind of looks like the letter ha but with 2 dots on top, is our absolute best friend here. Now, it's not technically a full letter of the alphabet, but it has one super important job. It's the feminine marker. Basically, when you see this thing at the end of a noun or an adjective, it's a giant flashing sign telling you that word is feminine. And here is the rule that makes it all so beautiful and simple. The book says it perfectly. Almost all feminine nouns and adjectives end in the feminine marker, ta marbuta. This is fantastic news for us as learners. I mean, think about it. Unlike so many other languages where you just have to memorize the gender of every single noun, Arabic just hands you this clear signpost. It's a game changer. Now let's see this rule in action. Let's look at some examples straight from the book. Just listen to the endings of these words. Sayyada, sahiha, dajaja, jadida, jara. You hear that? That clear ah sound at the end of every single one? And if you look, you can see they all end with that same symbol, the ta marbuta. That's our feminine marker doing its thing. All right, with gender pretty much under our belts, it's time to expand our alphabet. This unit introduces 4 letters that, I'm not going to lie, can be a bit of a challenge at first, but they are so essential. Getting the hang of these will unlock a ton of new words, and you'll see a lot of them later in this very unit. So our first new letter is to, which is called to. Now, it is so important that you know this is not the same as the regular T sound we already learned, too. This new one, to, is an emphatic letter. It's got a much heavier, deeper sound, and to make it, you actually have to use a different part of your mouth. So how do you actually make this emphatic sound? Well, the book gives a great physical tip. Try placing the tip of your tongue against that bony ridge right behind your top teeth, and then press a little harder than you would for a regular T. Now, let's look at how to write it. Pay close attention to the order here. You make the loop first, then you add the vertical line down. That's a super common mistake for beginners, so really try to practice that order. Okay, our second new letter is the, or the. Think of this one as the emphatic partner to the sa sound you hear in a word like this. Just like ta was the heavy version of T, the is the heavy, emphatic version of that da sound. And you want to know the best part? If you can write ta, you can already write da. Seriously, the shape is exactly the same. The only difference is that one little dot you place on top. It's that easy. Okay, let's all take a deep breath for this next one. Our third letter, ain, or ain, is probably one of the most famous sounds in Arabic, and it has no English equivalent. This is a consonant, not a vowel, and you make it deep in your throat. You kind of have to imagine a slight squeezing or constricting feeling way back there. Honestly, the best way to get the hang of ain is to just hear it. So let's listen to some pairs from the textbook to help train your ear. First, here's a word without the ain sound, ayatu. Okay, now listen for the ain, iyatu. Can you hear that little catch in the throat? Let's try another one, without, ja'a. Now with the ain, ja'a. It's a subtle difference, I know, but it is so important. And for our final new letter, we have ghain, or ghain. Now, this sound is also made in the back of the throat, just like ein, but this one has vibration. It's what linguists call a voiced sound. The best way to think of it is kind of like a French R, or maybe the sound you make when you're gargling, but without any water. Let's practice that gargling sound together right now. I'll say the word, I'll leave a little pause, and I want you to repeat it out loud. Ready? غرب, غريب, شغل, لغة. Excellent. Hey, don't worry if it feels a little strange at first. These throat sounds just take practice. You'll get it. Fantastic. We have just wrestled with a major grammar rule and 4 pretty tough new letters. So now it's time for the really fun part, putting it all into practice. We are heading to a virtual coffee house to connect all these new skills with some vocabulary and culture. You know, there's a good reason this unit is themed around the coffee house. Coffee, or kawa, and tea, shai, are way more than just drinks in the Arab world. They're absolutely central to social life and hospitality. Being offered coffee or tea is a fundamental sign of welcome, whether you're visiting someone's home or you're in an office for a meeting. Let's learn some key words. As I say them, see if you can spot some of our new letters. And repeat after me, okay? Saab, wasi, gharib, sagir, tayyib, or for feminine, tayyiba. And of course, qahwa. Hey, remember that ta marbuta from the very beginning of our lesson? Well, this is where it all comes together. In Arabic, adjectives have to agree in gender with the nouns they describe. And the book gives this wonderful tip for remembering this. Just think of the feminine pairs as rhyming with that final ah sound from the ta marbuta. Let's look at this in action. The first phrase here is jar gharib, a strange neighbor. Okay, so jar is masculine, which means the adjective gharib is also masculine. See, no ta marbuta on either of them. But now look at the second one. Jami'a tayyiba, a good university. The word jami'a is feminine. It ends in that ta marbuta. So the adjective tayyiba has to also be feminine and end with that same sound. See how they match perfectly? And just like that, you have made it through the core concepts of Unit 6. You've gotten the hang of the ta marbuta for gender, you've learned to pronounce and write 4 challenging but crucial new letters, and you've applied all of it to some really practical vocabulary. That is a huge step forward. You should be really proud of yourselves. So, what now? Let's put your new skills to the test right away. Think about a coffee or a tea. How would you describe it? Now remember, the word for coffee, qahwa, is feminine because it ends in a ta marbuta. So would you describe it as saghira, meaning small, or maybe tayyiba, meaning good? Go ahead and drop your answer in the comments below. Keep up the amazing practice.